Here we're asked to compute the derivative of this function f of x. Notice that in the denominator, we have these nested square root functions. And so we're not going to be able to apply our elementary derivative rules, but instead we're going to have to apply the chain rule to evaluate this derivative. Okay, now notice that we can rewrite f as the square root of 9 plus the square root of 9 minus x squared to the power minus 1. Written this way, we can clearly identify an outside function g and an inside function h. So here g, our outside function, is x to the power minus 1, and h, our inside function, is the square root of 9 plus the square root of 9 minus x squared. And so now f is the composition of g and h. So now we can evaluate the derivative of g using the power rule. So we have g prime of x is -1 times x to the power -2, which we can also write as -1 over x squared. Okay, now let's differentiate our function f using the chain rule. So we have f prime of x is the derivative of the outside function g, evaluated at the inside function h, multiplied by the derivative of the inside function h. Okay, so now we've simplified our problem slightly, but we still need to evaluate this derivative here. And to do that, we're going to need to apply the chain rule again. So let's again identify an outside function g and an inside function h. Here, our outside function is the square root of x, and our inside function is 9 plus the square root of 9 minus x squared. Okay, and we'll also need to find the derivative of g using the power rule. G prime of x is 1 over 2 square root x. So returning to our problem, we now have f prime of x is equal to -1 over, now we can simplify the denominator to 9 plus square root 9 minus x squared, times the derivative of the outside function evaluated at the inside function, multiplied by the derivative of the inside function. Now let's simplify. This is equal to -1 over 2 times 9 plus square root 9 minus x squared, all to the power of 3/2, times the derivative of 9 plus the derivative of the square root of 9 minus x squared. So the derivative of 9 we can evaluate, that is 0. And for the second derivative here, we're going to apply the chain rule once again. So let's identify our outside function g. Here, g of x is the square root of x. And so our inside function h is going to be 9 minus x squared. Now using the power rule, we have g prime of x is 1 over 2 square root x. Now let's evaluate the derivative of the square root of 9 minus x squared using the chain rule. So this is g prime evaluated at h, multiplied by the derivative of h. Now we have f prime of x is equal to -1 over 4 times 9 plus square root 9 minus x squared to the power 3/2 times the square root 9 minus x squared, multiplied by this derivative here. Now, using the difference rule, this is equal to the derivative of 9 minus the derivative of x squared. We know the derivative of 9 is 0, and so we're left with negative 2x. So let's plug this into our solution here. And finally, let's simplify our answer slightly. We found that f prime of x is equal to x over 2 times 9 plus square root 9 minus x squared to the power 3/2 times square root 9 minus x squared. And we're done. So in total, we applied the chain rule 3 times. At each step, we simplified the derivative slightly up until the point where we could evaluate the derivative directly.